that. Wait, where's the line? It's about doubled. Yeah, we're good. 50 grams. Hold on. There we go. Gorgeous. We'll see. I don't know. That would be nice. Paddle attachment would be sick. Yeah, I don't know about that. Good night. Jeez. I like this little salt slurry mixture. I think it dissolves the salt kind of nicely, incorporates it really easily. And I always weigh out my salt and put it right by the mixer. Sometimes I'll put it like in the little like divot. I'll keep the bowl to the side. Put the salt like in the divot of the mixer, so do not forget to add it because I do that all of the time.
1 tablespoon. Bread flour. 500 grams. Salt. 10 grams. 2. Mix and knead. 1. Whisk, cover, and let it sit at room temperature for 8 to 10 hours.
Do I have 500 grams of bread flour left? I don't think so. I'm saying it for the record so I don't remember. I don't. Wait, so I don't forget. Can you? Okay, thank you. I am 100 grams short of flour, so I have to go get some. And then add 100 grams to this bagel. I'm trying sourdough bagels. I've made a couple batches of bagels so far. They've come out both pretty stellar, so excited to try it with some extra sourdough starter. The bread has been secured. I'm gonna mix together the bagel dough, let it auto-lease, and then probably knead that by hand while I knead the sourdough loaf in the stand mixer. That's like a higher hydration, so I feel like I'd rather be in the stand mixer. And the bagel dough is a lower hydration, usually like 56-ish percent, 60%, so it's stiffer. It just needs elbow grease and just, you know, some muscles. So I'll do that. Oh, it's way more easier to bowl. That's way easier to bowl. It's whatever. Just didn't want to dirty another container, you know? Definitely do this in a bowl. Shaggy dough. It's pretty dry. I'm gonna let that flour hydrate a bit, and then I'm gonna add a little more water, a little more salt, and just knead that on the countertop. Water, salt slurry going in. Plap, plap. Alright, let's check a little bit of the gluten development. What the hell's on my face? Oh, it's just my face. So right now I'm just trying to see how thin I can get it before it breaks. Ideally, you want to be able to see through it. Can you? We're getting there, but a little bit more. Sourdough's almost done mixing. In the meantime, I'm going to mix this bagel dough by hand. I also added a little bit of little beer, a little bit of beer in there with the salt. So try to keep the hydration the same, but yeah, I think molasses, beer, sourdough feels like a really nice combination. So the next batch I want to do sourdough and replace all the water with beer and see how that goes. I think that would be yummy. I saw a guy on Instagram do that. So I think sourdough starter, molasses in the dough, and beer in a bagel. Brother. All right. Only adding flour because I added a little more water, so I'm trying to keep the hydration the same. I get why people get 2 cameras. This sucks. Because then if you want to change the angle. Alright, this is what I do. You can do whatever you want. That's just what I do. Kneading, you're just turning the dough on itself over and over again to create gluten, to create structure. Right now, honestly, it's got a decent stretch for not being kneaded at all. So what I do is I rock forward when I'm coming back, pull the dough back, push, back, rotate, push. And you can kind of rotate it when you pull back. That's kind of nice. And then I push like kind of through the wrist. Through the wrists. And then yeah, you know, as you're doing this, you'll feel the dough get smoother and softer. Yeah, kneading by hand is fun. The mixer is definitely a great choice. You get, especially you got a nice mixer. I mean, that thing is just gonna beat this dough up, but you can already see it's like, it's getting softer, smoother, and it's only been a few minutes. Check out that, can you see that from here? Is that too far? Come with me, come with me, come with me. Come with me, come with me a little bit. Everything I have is covered in flour. Okay. Cute. Look at that. Look at that stretch. Let's see. I mean, it might not be ready, but that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good sign right there. I'm getting pretty. I know I'm eventually breaking it, and it's not like it's gonna be indestructible, but like I'm getting there. So yeah, the sourdough is looking really nice. It's so tough to move a camera around and start and stop and all that stuff when your hands are just like caked, and whatever. So yeah, sourdough's looking good. You could keep kneading it, I think, but what I found is best is to kind of knead it for like 10 to 15 minutes on the mixer. And then once you start seeing a lot of that development, a good stretch, what I'll do next is kind of ball it up, put it in the container, and do a couple like stretch and folds. And that kind of gives it that extra strength, lets the gluten relax. You get kind of a better sense of what it's going to be before you let it sit and do its bulk rise. I like to wet my hands and this little dough scraper. The plastic ones are nice because they bend. If you can have a metal one and a plastic one, that's great. The metal ones are great for scraping the dough off the counter and really pinching seals and stuff close. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That is freaking nice, dude. I don't know a lot about bread. I know that's nice. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. Just kind of bring the edges together. Just make a nice little just, you know, just kind of bringing the ends in. Just bringing the ends in. This is kind of what you would do during your pre-shape, final shape. It's not really what we're doing. I'm just trying to give it some tautness. And then I'm just kind of pinching the dough. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm literally just gonna go back in this bowl for a bit. Just back in this, just back in the bowl. We'll cover this. Nice little damp towel. And then I'll come back in a little bit, stretch and fold that. All right, so sourdough is resting. You know who's also been resting for a bit? Bagel dough. Oh God, if you could smell this thing. It smells like a malty brewery. Oh God. I'm just gonna pinch off a golf ball size. Oh yeah, baby, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's really nice. I mean, that's pretty good. So same deal here. You don't even need the counter for this one because it's so sturdy. You just kind of create this seam on the bottom. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. You just kind of, and then you pinch it closed. You rotate, pinch it closed, and then I just kind of run my hands and pinch, and that kind of closes the seam. So now you have nice surface tension. So here's the tricky part is you can kind of bulk ferment these things one of two ways. You can do it at room temp for about 10 hours, or you can do it in the fridge if you want it to go longer. So timing is kind of important. If it's underproofed, especially the sourdough, it's not going to have that nice, beautiful oven spring. The crumb is not going to be opened up. If it's overproofed, yeah, that crumb, that structure starts to collapse. Because the way it works is that your yeast is basically feeding on your bread and water. It's kind of like farting out. It's farting out the gas that makes your bread expand. And that gas is getting trapped in these gluten networks that you've created through kneading and time. And so if your bread is overproofed, that means it's running out of gas. And so it's not gonna, it doesn't have enough gas to like keep the expansion. So that bread falls in on itself. And if it's underproofed, kind of the opposite is true. You haven't produced enough gas and you haven't trapped enough of that gas in the gluten network for there to be this big expansion. So both things result in kind of dense crumb. Bagel, in my experience of twice, the bagel is a little more forgiving because it typically is a denser and chewier texture. I couldn't exactly tell you what an overproof bagel is like or an underproofed because I've gotten pretty lucky the last two times. They've been pretty well proofed. So typically you'll see uneven structure in the crumb. You'll see like tiny bubbles in the bottom, big bubbles on top. Like it's just not good. So this guy is going to go into a little oiled bowl and he's going to rest and proof. I like to wet my hands and this little dough scraper. The plastic ones are nice because they bend. If you can have a metal one and a plastic one, that's great. The metal ones are great for scraping the dough off the counter and really pinching seals and stuff closed. Look at that. That is freaking nice, dude. Bring the edges together. I'm just trying to give it some tautness. And then I'm just kind of pinching the dough under the scraper. All right, so it's the next morning. The sourdough did its bulk ferment. The bagel dough did its bulk ferment. And now we're gonna do some shaping. the sourdough and the Banneton, shape our bagels, and then let things do their final proof and rest. Alright, so lay it skin side down. Skin side is going to go in the floured Banneton. That's going to allow the skin to dry out so we can score it. So I'm just going to kind of lightly stretch it into a rectangle. There. There. You go there. I'm just rolling that up. And then kind of spinning it on my fingers to stretch it out, trying to be as even as possible. And yeah, you kind of want to be dramatic on how big that opening is, because you'll see it just, the gluten just tightens back up. They're gorgeous. The chew is so nice. It's the best chew I've had on any of my bagels. The crust is there. Like, I wish there was a way to show you that it's actually a well-developed crust. There's even a little blistering, but it doesn't like shatter when you bite into it. This is the same bagel toasted. I think toasted is gonna be. I think this is the best textured bagel when you toast it. I want to make the best bagel that doesn't need to be toasted, but in my brain, it's like you have to have soft, dense, and chewy, and you can create the crunch with toasting it. Whereas, like, if you don't have soft, dense, and chewy, you just can't make it, you know? Oh. Wow. I would have paid for this. There's not like a heavy sourdoughiness. Oh. I mean, what's there to be upset?